Hello everybody, welcome to another video. I appreciate y'all hopping on board here. Um, this is a video, it literally just came to my mind 20 seconds ago, and I was like, some people might be surprised about some of these records or CDs that I don't have in any format in my collection. So I'm just going to list off 10 albums that I don't own any in my collection. And it's one of those things where, comment below and let me know if there are any popular albums that you just don't own. So this might be a continuing series. I don't know. We'll see how it how it pans out. But anyway, I've got 10 albums here that I've written down just off the top of my head that might be a surprise for those of you that know me, for those that know my musical taste, and then also just for the fact that there are some albums that they say you just have to have in your music collection, and I don't own them. So, in no particular order, though, I might save probably the big one for the for the end. Well, no, I'll just go ahead. I'll just list them off exactly as I have them. So never mind. First one, Back in Black by AC/DC. I don't own Back in Black. I've never owned it. Probably the main reason is because that song, I'm so tired of that song. I'm so sick of Back in Black. It's used every time there's some sort of hype scene in a movie. And sure, it's a hype song, but I'm just overdone with it. And I think as a result of that, I've heard the album before on streaming, but it never hit me to the point where I'm like, I need to go and get that. So say what you will, I don't have Back in Black. I have Razor's Edge by AC/DC. I was given Razor's Edge, and I've never listened to it. So, but I like AC/DC. I've never pulled it off my shelf to listen to it. Number two, one of the biggest selling albums of all time. That's what these first two are. Back in Black was. The second one, Thriller by Michael Jackson. I don't own Thriller. I don't own any studio albums by Michael Jackson. I have his one of his greatest hits compilations somewhere on my shelf, and I got really into Michael Jackson in early high school, I think. I even went to theaters to go see that This Is It documentary. But I think it's because most of those songs were on my greatest hits compilation that I was like, why would I need to go buy that album to get two or three more songs that are on that compilation? Contrary to popular belief, I do love the song "The Girl Is Mine" with Paul McCartney. So Beatles fans, take that as you will. So jumping right into the Beatles, the next one I don't own any kind of copy of is "Band on the Run" by Paul McCartney and Wings. I'm just now starting to get some Paul McCartney solo albums. The only ones that I had up until this week were McCartney 3 and Egypt Station. And then I have the Wingspan 2-disc compilation, and then of course I've got all the studio albums by the Beatles and then their archive sets. But for whatever reason, I was strongly lacking in their solo career up until 2021 is when I started getting solo Beatles stuff in my collection. So Band on the Run is not one that I currently own, and I think it's for the same reason, because probably half those songs are on that Wingspan compilation, and I just never, as a young man, never felt the need to go purchase the album to get an extra 5 or 6 songs. But I would love to have it. Next is one of the most famous live albums of all time, Live at San Quentin by Johnny Cash. I have his Live from Folsom Prison album, but I've never picked up San Quentin. Maybe it's because I don't find it in my local like Barnes and Noble and everything, and I've never just thought to order it online. But it's one that I would take it. I love the song "Wanted Man" on that album. It's not on Folsom Prison, and yeah, it's just one that I've never owned. Next, the next two are full artists that I don't own a note of their recording in my collection. And I've talked about this recently on a live stream, I think. But the first is The Doors. I don't own any Doors in my collection, not a note. And I don't know why that I've never fully given them a chance. Um, yeah, I don't really have an excuse to jump into the Doors. You know, they're not one of those bands. Like again, their few songs that they still play on the radio are so overdone that I've just never jumped into their catalog. And I know that that's a bad way to look at things because they play the same, 5 Elton John songs on the radio too. I mean, you're going to hear Rocket Man and Crocodile Rock any hour of the day. And I have a lot of Elton John stuff, but the Doors are not one that I've jumped into. So the next person, this is number 6, I believe, Jimi Hendrix. I don't own a note of Jimi Hendrix music either. I don't know if it's because I'm not into like I'm not fully into that era of 60s rock. Like another person I don't have is Janis Joplin. She's kind of in that same boat with Hendrix to me. I don't own his stuff, and I'm not taking away from his talent, but it's just he's just never an artist that I've seeked out, and I don't have an excuse for it. But I just don't have it. Again, we all have artists that we don't have anything against. We just don't have their stuff. Next, it's an artist that I do love quite a bit, and this is one of their bigger albums. It's The Who, their album Quadrophenia. I don't own, and I know that is the favorite album of Glenn Kellaway, I believe. Loves that album. The song "Love Rain O'er Me" is beautiful. It's one of Townsend's masterpieces, that album, and I think the reason I haven't got that one is in stores it's always $20 on CD, $25, so it's a double CD, and I've never felt like putting $20 toward that CD. Again, it's one of those things that your brain tells you like you don't want to spend $25 on that, and I'm sure it's worth it, but usually if I'm seeing that CD, I can also find 5 or 6 $5 CDs right next to it that I feel more, and I feel more like I want to get those instead. Next is the debut album by Jackson Browne. It's self-titled Jackson Browne. It's often misinterpreted as Saturate when using, and it's got some big songs on it. Doctor My Eyes is on that album, and it's a killer album. It's killer, and I would love to have it, but again, it's one of those I don't find it on. If I were to find it on CD, I look for it every time I go to like Barnes and Noble or the places that sell new CDs, and even my record store. They don't ever have Jackson Browne on CD, which is predominantly what I collect, and that's one that I never find. I would love to have that one though. Next, another surprise is Music from Big Pink by the band, considered by many to be their magnum opus. I'm just slowly starting to get into collecting the band's catalog because other than the Rock of Ages album and their greatest hits, it wasn't until Christmas that I received one of their studio albums. I received Cahoots, the new remaster, and I don't have Music from Big Pink. It's on my list. That's because the new remix for Cahoots was fantastic. So Music from Big Pink, the Brown album, I would love to have those. Lastly is the album Coda by Led Zeppelin. I know Gary at Physical Format Rock and Roll loves Led Zeppelin. They're a top tier band for him. I just recently ordered presents that's supposed to get in the mail. The latest remastering of that. I have all the other albums on remaster. I don't have Coda yet, so that's on my list as well, as to get Coda to round off my studio albums of Led Zeppelin. So anyway, I thought this was something different, something that a lot of people don't do that often. Those are 10 albums / artists that I don't own any of those records. Let me know some surprising albums that y'all are missing, and it'll be fun to interact with you. So I thank y'all for watching as always, and I'll talk to y'all real soon.